because I was panicking, and I was like, dude, like I didn't say this on the phone, but I was thinking like, dude, I have negative money in my bank account. I probably just got scammed, and I literally don't know what to do right now, because there's no way I would ask anybody for help. So I call my mom, the one person I would always call if anything like terrible happened. And I remember I like was telling her, I was like, I like need, like I didn't say like I need help. I said like I have like this problem. I need to like talk about it with you. It was like some normal conversation. She was just like, yeah, like what's wrong? She was like concerned. And I remember like I just started like crying to her like over the phone, because I was like, I just like failed all my midterms. I probably have to retake 2 classes, and I like am negative $120 in my bank account, and I'm expected to take like
1. Kanpai!
Kanpai, bitches.
Kanpai! All right, welcome to episode 12. This is the... Oh, yeah. Well, fuck.
Wait, hold on. This is episode 13, actually.
Oh, 13. Welcome to the Gain EXP podcast. Oh, I need to edit that part out. Welcome to the Gain EXP podcast. This is the podcast where we talk about anime, fitness, video games, pretty much anything. Honestly, it was kind of just like us recording what our conversations were.
Yeah. Last week was very impromptu.
It was very
like,
impromptu.
It was like Jordan being like, hey, I forgot what we were supposed to talk about today. And I'd be like, okay, I think I have an idea of what I want to talk about. And then we just rolled with it.
So if anyone wants to know, whenever we do these podcasts, we like literally, we have like, we don't never have a template. None of this is scripted. We literally just come up with a subject, or actually not even one of us comes up with a subject, brings it to the table or coffee table, and just like, hey, let's talk.
Yeah. And if you're listening to this, leave a comment on what things or what topics you'd like for us to talk about.
Yeah, we're open to pretty much anything, honestly. Like, if you want to hear anything about us, maybe some fitness advice and stuff like that. We're planning to actually put more towards actual like videos to like cover that stuff. But if anything you want to hear about specifically, would love to hear about it. Would love to talk about it. And yeah, in general. But today's topic, actually, I thought about this in the car one day because I was remembering something. I forgot exactly what it was, but I was remembering, not necessarily someone else talk about this, but it was more so a memory of my own. And I was like, this is really interesting, not as just a memory, but as a topic, is like the concept of a memory that affects you, right? So today's idea is that what is a memory, or what is a memory that you will never forget? Like, okay. What is something that you will never forget that happened to you? Both a good thing that you will never forget, and a bad thing you will never forget that has greatly affected you. Like
the thing that keeps you up in the middle of the night that randomly pops in your brain at 2 a.m.
Not necessarily embarrassing, but like not necessarily embarrassing, but what that has like a
it was impactful
and very impactful that changed your life. What is like something that you will never forget that has completely changed your life?
I see. I was thinking of it in the other way of like it was embarrassing as fuck and it like keeps me up at night.
I mean, it could be that too, like because I feel like the idea of embarrassment is that it's something that you can't forget, so you will always remember and learn from that thing too. So I guess that counts.
Shit. Okay. Well, I came prepared with a different type of story. So I'm gonna tell you to go first, and I'm gonna listen, but I'm also in the back of my mind gonna be thinking of. Well, do we want to start with the good or the bad, actually? Because in my mind, I compartmentalize like the good and the bads.
Yeah.
I separate them. So do we want to start with a good?
Let's do the good first.
A good story that was impactful? Okay.
Let's do a good one first, and then we'll go into a bad one. And then because I feel like the bad ones always garner a larger story and background, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I get that.
So I'll go with mine. I was in between a few things, but it was like I feel like this is kind of not really a cop out answer, but we're drinking something fizzy.
We're drinking alcohol.
We're drinking something fizzy. So I it's kind of not really a cop out answer, but I feel like it was a pretty expected answer. Though it was like for me it was like being 15 years old. So for the people who don't know, my brother is actually 15 years younger than me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I will never forget the moment going into the hospital and actually holding him for the first time.
Oh, damn.
And I would distinctly remember how soft the skull was. Like you can feel an indent in a baby's head because it's not fully, like when they pop out of the womb, they're actually not fully formed yet. And so there's an indent where the skull still needs to grow. And there's a soft spot on the head where the brain is, which is crazy. And I still remember holding that and holding my brother and just being like, kind of the whole, oh fuck, holy shit, I have a little brother now, like, and I'm 15 years old. And also, I will never, it was kind of a crazy moment because I didn't really get to really see my brother when he was born because he was born like a month early. So they had to incubate him for a little bit.
Okay.
So after a few days, was able to hold my brother. But I also will never forget the day he was born. I got a call from my stepdad during class. During high
because
school.
he was born early, like it was unexpected kind of deal.
It was completely unexpected. I was literally at school and I got a call that my mom was in the hospital in labor, and I was in school in like the 6th period in math class. I got a call from my stepdad, and I was like, "Oh, can I use the restroom?" And blah blah blah. I walked out, and he called me. I was like, "What's up?" It's like I'm currently in class right now. What's going on? He was like, "Oh yeah, you're at school right now. Your mom's in labor and your brother's been born. Bye."
Oh shit! Damn, that was so sudden.
I know, and I'm like, and he like hangs up, and I'm literally screaming at the phone. What? What did you say? What? And I remember.
Well, you're like, how old are you? Like 15?
I'm 15. I think I'm 14 at this time because I'm technically, it was my 15th year, but he was born in March. And I'm born in April. My birthday's in April. Or not April. What the fuck am I talking about? August.
Yeah.
So I will never forget that moment because so many things happened that day. Ace, if you're listening to this, why the fuck did you decide to come out that day? There was so many things going on that day. So I got a call that afternoon, and it was my first year in high school band, or first year in high school band. And in band, you could probably agree, after school on the day of a concert, we pretty much just stay at school till the end of the concert, like at 10 p.m. at night,
like 9:10.
And so to set up everything. And so my brother's born. I'm like thinking like, holy, like I gotta leave, I gotta go see my brother. And I call my family after school. I'm like, in the last period, I'm literally sitting there freaking the goddamn shit fucking out, thinking like as my high school teacher's like, E plus A equals C, and then like I'm like not thinking. Algebra ain't going through this head. There's right now.
There's a baby being born right now. I need to get to the hospital stat.
It's like because I didn't drive at the time. I only had. Were you
biking or what?
Yeah, I only had my bike. I was biking to school every single day.
Oh, okay.
And so I literally got out of class and I was calling him and I was like, let's do, like, can someone pick me up? I'll get there as fast as possible. And I remember I forgot it was my uncle or my stepdad told me. He was like, look, Jordan, honestly, just stay at school and do your concert. And I was like, why? It's my brother's born day. Like, not even a birthday, I guess, but the day he's born. And they're like, we can't even see him. He's like, he was born a month early. They have to incubate him. They have to leave him there for like 3 days, make sure he's stable, make sure he's good. Ace, it was a weird thing because Ace, my brother, was born. And he was born early. Usually that means that you're underweight. But he was actually in a healthy weight, but born early.
So if he was born on time, would he have been overweight then?
I mean, there's no real overweight. Like, as long as the concern is that if you're underweight, because you want the baby to be. The concern with being overweight would be like, it's more painful for the mother to get it out.
Okay.
So, anyways, I remember 3 days later, I remember going to the concert. I'm not even thinking. I probably played like complete shit, which is fine. I was a freshman. It didn't really matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
I was just like freezing up, just thinking the whole time, like looking into the crowd, just like, holy shit, I'm a big brother now. I'm like, and I went essentially through my whole life being an only child. I had like ex-step family. By the way, also weird fun fact about me, I have a ex-stepmom, an ex-stepdad, an ex-stepsister, ex-stepbrother, a stepbrother, a stepsister, a half-brother, a stepdad.
Dude, you've got brothers from another mother all over the place.
I know, dude. It's crazy. And so so with that, like, you know, I grew up as an only child all my life, and like I did want brothers and sisters when I was a kid, but like I didn't know exactly what that was gonna be like, and especially now that I'm 15 years older than my brother, I had no idea what was gonna happen. So I distinctly remember a couple days later, I think I was with my cousins, came out too, and we went to the hospital, and I like held him in my arms for the first time. And there's a photo of me doing it, and I was like, and I'm like, just like this, there's just like a pure euphoric moment of like, oh my God, like it's like almost like a light bulb switch in your brain. I distinctly remember that, where like you almost distinctly have to feel more responsible as a person. Yeah, like because another thing that is that my stepdad is from Texas, and he couldn't make it out to California immediately. He was trying to transfer jobs from Texas to California, so he would have to go back and forth a lot. And so I had to take care of.
That's crazy, actually. Because where do you live? Like, oh, sorry, we don't have to say location, but yeah, never mind. Sorry.
He was
in Texas.
He lived in Central Texas.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Sorry.
So, I had to take care of my mom a lot of the times, and especially throughout her pregnancy, there was times where I had to be the one to like get food and get shit. I distinctly remember I didn't have a car, so at like 8 or 9 p.m. at night, she was like, "I'm really craving ice cream and salmon."
Ooh, nice.
And I'm like,
love that.
I'm like, what the fuck?
Vanilla bean and Alaskan salmon.
And I'm like, what the fuck do I do with get ice cream and salmon?
You're like 14. You're like, what the fuck?
And then I jump on my tiny little bicycle at 9 p.m. at night, bike to this.
Oh, no way. You actually did?
Bike to the grocery store, bike to the local Safeway, lock up my bike and hope it doesn't get stolen, and then run into the grocery store, buy salmon, buy vanilla ice cream. I think she loves like peanut butter chocolate ice cream. So I got peanut butter chocolate ice cream, salmon, and then went back to my bike I used to do this thing where I would put the grocery bag and tuck it inside on the handle and then ride like this.
Oh shit. Oh, like on each side, or you would only have it on the one side?
Ideally both, but like if it was, I would just have to balance it if it didn't.
Yeah, because I've tried doing that too, and that shit's tough when you only have it on the one side.
I had so many falls as a kid, like on a bike. But anyways, I would go and do I would do these errands, and then like luckily I knew how to cook, so I would make the salmon. So yeah, no, that's definitely a moment.
That's a solid one.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a moment I can think of as a solid one where it greatly affected my life, because I remember distinctly this kind of light bulb switch of like, holy shit, Jordan, you have to be responsible and a somewhat good person now.
Did you feel as if like you didn't have to be responsible for anything prior to that moment? Was it because you were so young you didn't feel like you had to be like motherly, I guess, or like, I guess in your case, like a caretaker or something like that, or what? Well, how did that make you feel, I guess?
I don't think I ever grew up with the only child syndrome. You know what I mean? I don't think I ever grew up with that syndrome, of that idea of like I'm the only child. That type of deal.
I see.
But I do think it was a great change in my life. Not just necessarily like, I don't remember exactly the feeling before, but there was a distinct switch in feeling like I need to be a good example, good responsible person, responsible for this little child. And I still feel that, obviously. He's my little brother, so I take care of him whenever I can.
Yeah.
He's a smart kid. You've met him. He's
super intellectual for sure.
Dude wants to be a manager of I think his dream job is to be a manager of the Smithsonian or something like that.
Dude, he's dope. Yeah, he loves history.
He loves history.
He tells me things about history I don't even know.
He knows more.
I was sleeping during that period in high school. Like,
he knows more about history than I think some of his history teachers. That's a true statement. And
he knows like just random facts about things. It's like really interesting, actually.
We were
super smart.
Yeah, like I think this goes back to like what we were talking about last time, which was that like, the access to the internet allows the access for the internet and the growth of YouTube platforms or YouTube channels and accounts that are like fun science-based things or fun history, like I think like who was it that like really Hank Green and like Vsauce was like the ones who really started it all for that stuff, and it is such a big thing now on YouTube, like being the educational ones, and I feel like that is I honestly think that's like a great thing. That's one of the, probably in my opinion, one of the best, one of, if not the top best things about YouTube and the internet is that they can, what they can't get sometimes from school, or what they won't teach at school, or what the things that at school they don't elaborate on, or they just teach you dates. If you have a bad teacher and they just like, here's some tests and here's some events about dates and stuff like that. There's a channel there. I guarantee you there's a channel on YouTube or on Instagram, TikTok, whatever, that will explain that same exact topic in a much more interesting, elaborate, and fun way.
Yeah. And if someone doesn't, then somebody else will come along and will do that. So.
Yeah. That's why a 7-year-old can learn about the theory of relativity.
And then he also wants to be in the military, or he did.
He did want to be in the military. That was a weird.
That was dope.
that was a funny. I think for his like 9th birthday, he wanted to go to like a military museum, and then we took him to a military museum, and we got him inside of a little like jet pilot thing with a hat. It was cute. Yeah.
Now we know if all else fails, we know where he's going.
Yeah, I mean,
see Ace.
Ace would
enjoy the army.
Ace would be great. Ace, I don't doubt Ace is gonna go somewhere well. I mean, it's hard to tell because I feel like.
Oh yeah, and happy birthday, Ace.
Oh yeah, today is when we're filming this, it's his birthday. So happy birthday, Ace. I hope you have a good one. They just got his favorite. You know what's his favorite food? It's hilarious.
Is it really random?
It's pretty random.
I'm gonna say cotton candy.
No.
All right, what is it then?
It's it's an Indian, or it's like a Malaysian flatbread called roti canai. It's similar to naan, but but it's like crispier.
And it's like hard to find or something, or
yeah, you only find it in like Malaysian and Indonesian restaurants. And we took him once, and he absolutely loved it. He loves that shit. It's like the most random thing he absolutely loves.
Well, is it good? I don't think I've had it.
Bro, it's actually super fire.
Is it good?
It's like legitimately fire. It's like, it's honestly, I could see why he likes it. It's literally like, imagine if a croissant was a flatbread.
All our Malaysian fans tap in. Let me know, because I've never had it. Or
It's
tell me
sick.
where to get it here in San Diego. That'd be really helpful.
We could probably find a place to get it.
I want them to find it for us, so I'll make a video on it too, and I'll shout you out.
Roti canai. Roti canai. But yeah, no, that's probably, I can't, I was trying to think of like a really good memory like that I won't forget, and that was like the only thing that really popped up.
I see.
Was that, and just all the like moments of that, like being in Chinese culture, we don't have we have a baby shower, but it's called something different. It's called I don't remember off tops. I think it's like the red egg ceremony.
Oh, okay.
Where you get a bunch of people that's your closest friends, and you give out 100 eggs that's painted red. It's supposed to be like a good luck thing.
I've never heard of this.
Yeah. So you
that sounds dope.
You bring them all into this like little like, usually a lot of Chinese holidays are done at restaurants because we know we're all gonna eat. We might as well do it at the place we're gonna eat at.
Yeah.
So you bring them all like these eggs, and it's supposed to be hard-boiled eggs. It's supposed to be good luck, and I think at the end you crack it. But yeah, that's like a thing. I think it's supposed to be no. Everyone gets a red egg. The 100 thing is it's supposed to be 100 days before he's born.
I see. Okay.
Or 100 days after. One of the two.
Something like that.
I'll look into it later.
Honestly, knowing what you've told me about these traditions, it's like it could go either way. Like if you could do before or after, it doesn't matter.
I mean, if you're Asian American, yeah, probably. If you're in Asia or China or like a specific country, then it's super harsh about it. But like, the nice thing about being Asian American is that any tradition, you're just like, I'm just gonna try to keep it alive as good as I can, and this is as best as I remember it. And people are gonna be like, yeah, that's sick, dude.
We have people like me who just go with it and they're like, "Oh, that sounds cool."
Yeah, I mean, like I think for a lot of the Asian Americans, it's the effort of trying that people respect.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's like, but like if you're in Asia and they're like, you should know this.
Okay, so I thought of two good stories, and I'll let you pick which one I'm going to tell.
For being a good thing.
A good thing.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
you haven't heard either of these stories, I don't think, which is good. So I can either talk about Yu-Gi-Oh cards, or I could talk about being in the math club. You can pick whichever story you want, because I could think of like 5 good stories.
I want to. I there's a part of me that wants to say the Yu-Gi-Oh ones, but I think I'll actually say the math club because
Okay.
because there's a fun fact about you that I don't think a lot of people know is that when I first met you, you were a math major.
Oh yeah, I'm a huge mathematics guy, dude. Like
Yeah.
I fucking love. Like it's so stupid, but like when I go out and like we order food at restaurants, like if the bill says like let's say $50 and like 62 cents, I have to do the math so I can do like $1 and like 38 cents, so it adds up perfectly to like $60 or some shit. Like I just do the math on everything. But yeah, used to be in the math club, but one of my core memories that I was like in 5th grade.
Yeah.
And I'm sure people know what I'm talking about. There's probably a select few people that know what I'm talking about, but I was in the math club. I did it for 3 years, and the whole
Wait,
thing.
is this high school or
This is elementary school, actually.
just
So
elementary school?
So when I was in elementary school, I didn't go out to do recess 5 days a week. I did that like 3 days. The other 2 days I would stay inside and I literally would just do math. Like that's what I would do because I fucking loved math. I still do, but like back then I was obsessed with it. Like you know how kids or people in general get like obsessed with reading, like they just read books.
Yeah.
Like I would literally do that, but with like math. Like I would stay up at night and I would just do multiplication tables and shit. Like
really?
yeah, like I was like in love with it. I still do love it a lot, but like now I'm a designer and like all this other stuff. But like I still love it a lot. But
How did you suck at accounting?
dude, but accounting's different because straight math is fun, but when you start adding all these variables and golden records and rules to it, you're like, dude, what? Because like the reason I like it is because like the professor could tell you like what's 2 plus 2, and then the kid will write 2 plus 2, put a line underneath it, and put 4. But I was that kid that would be like, well, if you divide 2 by 4 and you add 3 to 4 and then subtract that by the original 2 count, then you would get 4. And then my professor would be like, okay, yeah, that works, but like that's not what I meant. Like,
Bro,
I would like love that shit. So.
Bro, I got lost.
Yeah,
explaining.
Okay,
that.
but that was just a terrible example. But anyways, math club. We have
Okay.
to stop here in a sec, but I'll get into the story. But
Okay.
essentially, the select few people that I know about, or that are listening that know about this, there's this game. So in the math club, there were games you play. There were 2 categories. There was games. So you
Okay.
play games centered around patterns and math.
Okay.
And then the other category was just literally math. Like they would be like, here's 100 multiplications, like questions. Whoever finishes it the fastest wins, and you compete against like hundreds of other students.
Do you get anything for winning?
You get like a trophy, recognition, and then like you get like a gift card or something like that. So I was in the math club, and there was like 15 people at my school. Like total, it was all the schools in the valley, in the Coachella Valley. So there's probably like, let's just say over 100 people. There's like 120.
Yeah.
So 120 people all get together one time a year, and you practice months ahead of time, like 6 months, 5 months, 4 months, 3 months, 2 months, 1 month. And then you're at the competition. You compete against everybody in the entire valley against and you all do math. Like I said, the first category you do math, and the second category you play the game. So I was really good at the games, like really good at the pattern games. So there's this game called Capture, right? And I'll make it really easy for everyone to explain. It's like, let me back up. Hold on. There's a game called Hex is what I meant to say. There's a game called Hex. It's a bunch of hexagons in a big shape of a hexagon. So imagine a big hexagon, and it's made up of tiny little hexagons. Does that make sense?
Am I dumb or I can't imagine this?
Okay, make it easier. Imagine a triangle, and it's made up of, like, you know the Triforce in Legend of Zelda, how it's a triangle made of triangles?
Yeah.
It's a hexagon made of hexagons, but it's a bunch of tiny little hexagons kind of thing.
Okay.
So like, imagine like the Triforce if it was a bunch of little triangles.
It's like a honeycomb.
It's a honeycomb. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So the game is based on like honeycomb, right? and one person is an X and one person's an O, like in tic-tac-toe.
Okay.
And I won't say how you win because it's really complicated, but essentially you guys like go in the honeycomb, you mark it up, you make a pattern and a path, and whoever wins like eliminates the person and moves on. It's like kind of like a bracket style.
Yeah.
But anyways, I was spending like 6 months leading up to this thing, and one of my best friends, CJ from elementary school, if he's listening to this, I love you so much. Shout out to you, CJ. He was so much better than me at one of the games, that hex game.
Yeah.
And so me and him were the only two that could play that game well. So we were the only ones competing against like these like maybe 50, 60 other students.
Yeah.
And we did the whole bracket style, and we were on opposite sides of the brackets.
Yeah.
And we went and we beat everybody, and we met in the final like championship. So
Okay.
like he was like a rivalry. It was like me and my best friend at the time. And then I ended up like beating him, which was like a big fucking deal because like this dude would always whoop me. Like he was always just so much better than me, and I beat him. But it was one of those core memories because it was one of those like, oh, like I went into it like, oh, I'm gonna lose because like he's like better than me at this. And then I ended up winning, and it was like one of the coolest like feelings ever because he was actually like happy for me and shit. And like,
bro, you had an anime tournament arc.
I know, bro. It was cool, dude. It was so epic, and it was based around honeycombs too.
You had
dude.
Anime tournament arc in your elementary school.
No,
man.
it was sick, bro.
Bro, someone has to make that into like an anime.
Dude, it was sick, bro. Like we got all the way to the end, and he got second. Obviously, I got first, and it was like a good feeling because I was like, dude. I went into it doubting myself, and I ended up overcoming like the challenge.
Okay.
And it was like a good happy ending. Like everybody was happy, and like no matter who won, like our school would win because he would get second, I would get first, vice versa.
Yeah.
But it was just one of those things I never forget about because I'm like, dude, that was so like fun. And then like I don't know, like in my mind at the time, I was like, I'm the best at math in the whole school.
Damn.
But it was just like elementary school, so no one gives a fuck. But
nice. No, that's sick, dude. All right, we'll get more into it in like a second. We gotta take a break.
All right, cool. Break time.
I want to emphasize again now that we're back from the break how much of an anime arc tournament story that was. I literally, as he was saying it, had this image of like if you guys know the JoJo meme of like JoJo and Dio like approaching. It's like you're approaching me, and it's like what's CJ, right?
Yeah, CJ.
CJ is like you're approaching me, and then you're walking towards like.
Dude, he would be like Joestar, or I guess I would be like Joestar this time.
You would be the protagonist.
Dio wins though. Like a lot of the fights he wins, but
I mean he loses.
But that's like the perfect rivalry. But
Yeah.
Yeah, CJ is dope. He moved to Vegas after we
after you beat that.
No, no shit. We popped the filter. Yeah, he moved to Vegas once we went up to high school. So I haven't talked to him since like high school, but we're so cool. So.
No, that's a sick story. And like, how does that like? Does that affect you or like as a memory now? Like, did it change anything in your life, or is that something you just look back on like very fondly?
I don't know. It's like, I think it's like one of those fond memories. I don't think I ever am like thinking about it in like a motivational way or even like in like inspirational or anything like that. It's just mostly like, I can't forget that because it was literally in my mind one of the times where I had actually approached it with such a negative like attitude, and then it actually ended up being the opposite of what I thought it was going to be, which I guess happens all the time, but like, or often I should say, but I don't know why. It was literally like there was no chance in my mind, and like somehow it was like winning the lottery to me. It was like a big deal. So like I just always will remember that. So
yeah, if anyone is really good at animation and like hears this for whatever reason, can you animate this like as an anime like show where they're walking towards each other? They sit at the table. This is like a Queen's Gambit moment.
Like we put our fingers on our chins like this. Like
it's like a Yu-Gi-Oh.
Never thought I would see you here.
It's a Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. They're sitting across from each other, and he's like, "I use Pot of Greed.
I use Monster Reborn.
I draw 2 cards.
I'll save the Yu-Gi-Oh. Speaking of which, I'll save the Yu-Gi-Oh card story for next time.
Yeah.
It's also very good though.
Okay, yeah. Dude, I love Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So, okay, we're going to go into the second part of this, which is that which is actually the memory I remembered thinking of this topic, which was that what is a memory that you won't ever forget that was negative but has a forever, like, what's it called? Forever affected your life. And so for me, that memory, actually, this is like, background to this it was in high school. It was at the end of high school, and I was going into college back in like 2014 and 2015. And I went to I was born and raised in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I was especially in the Silicon Valley. And that was at the time, a very, like, it was at a time where obviously Apple and Facebook and all of them were popping off, and so you'd have all these engineers come in, and you'd have these engineers' kids come in, and so the high schools and the schools at the area where I grew up were super, like, highly academically, like, even the public schools were crazy. To give you an idea, the school I went to, what was it? It had back when the SATs was 24 out of 2,400. Our average SAT score was 2,100 for the whole school.
Dude, did you ever take it?
I took it.
Do you remember what you got on it?
Bro, I got 17, dude.
Dude, that's like basically what I got too.
Yeah,
so.
but that was extremely below average in my school.
In your school, gotcha.
And where I started, I had to take the SAT 4 times because my original score was 1,400, and I was like, which found out later on in life was still above average for America, but was like literally almost like a full 1,000 points underneath like
the average student
school.
at the high school you went to.
Dude, I had friends who were like, who literally, and I wasn't pissed at them, but I was like, kind of like, really, guys, like, they would go and take the SAT and not study, literally not study, just take the first one just to see how hard it was.
Yeah. And
they would literally get 2,300. I knew someone who got 23 out of 2,400, never studied.
Dude, I feel the same way. One of my old friends, Mark, took it with barely studying. He got like 2,150.
Yeah.
And like I ended up getting like, I think I actually got lower than 17. I was like 1,600. I mean. Yeah. And I was like, dude, what the fuck? Am I just an idiot? Like, it makes you feel stupid.
It makes you. I think that's one thing that I think that being in that area, in that environment, I looking back on it now, I think it's just like a very negative type of connotation to have such an emphasis on academia in that place, because it's like people were like, there was I will never forget, someone literally said that if they added up all their extracurriculars by the recommended hours and their classes, came up to more than 24 hours in a day.
Oh wow, no way. Wait, hold on.
So
what you mean to say is like, because I'm trying to understand it, you mean like all the time they put in terms of like the extra shit they do outside of school too would like be enough time to cover an entire day of 24 hours?
So if I'm not sure if you ever had this, for us, when we had to pick classes, it would tell you how many hours a day, including the class itself plus the homework, it would take in a day.
Oh, yeah, no, we didn't have that. Not when I was in high school, only in college.
Yeah, so they had that in high school for me. And so they would, so I remember one girl literally picked all the stuff for the high school. For high school, including the extracurriculars and a job. She added it all up, and it came up to like 27 hours a day.
Oh, shit. Yo, that's insane.
Yeah, so that was like the environment I grew up in, and like there was an expectation for you to do not just your classwork, and you had to do some sort of extracurricular. You had to be outside of that. You had to have a job or a community service, and there was just like levels upon levels upon levels upon levels of everything, and it was all, especially coming into the junior to senior year, because you're applying to colleges. And I distinctly remember colleges, from what I understood, looked at your school and then looked at your average within the school. They didn't necessarily look at your grades, from the standpoint of as a whole as a nation.
Mm-hmm.
So I actually did not get into pretty much any of the schools except for one, which was the college we went to, which is Fullerton.
Right.
I actually was barely got into Fullerton, and they had to have me write a 1,000-word essay for a state school, which is almost unheard of, so that I could convince them for them to take me. So I literally did not get into anything, and I had a 3.1 to 3.5 GPA.
Oh damn. Okay.
So like
that's pretty decent actually. 3.1. I think I was similar at 3.4 or some shit like that.
Yeah, to give you an idea, that I talked to like some of the people in our classes.
They're like, they're probably like 4.5 or some shit like that.
In our classes in Fullerton, they're like, dude, I got in here with a 2.5 GPA in high school.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, and I was like, bro, I literally I had a 3 point something GPA, and I had to fucking write a 1,000-word essay. But it's because they look at the graph and they look at your average versus your school.
I see.
So I was way below average, even though I was above average for the rest of the nation.
Damn, that's actually crazy to think about.
Yeah,
because you could be like really smart and like do really well, but still like not get accepted because like on average at your school, like you're not doing as good.
Yeah. So I think that it was just the environment of a lot of people had this stressed environment where they had to feel. I mean, obviously, just as another context, I went to a school that was 80% Asian, and not just the Asian families, but because everyone else, other cultures as well, were a part of that environment. It was just a shit show of a mess of just stress and anguish and just like continuously going. Like people would just not sleep, like just straight up. And I remember being in college and thinking like, this is easier than high school. This is so much easier than high school. This is so much easier than anything I ever had to do in high school. But all that to say is that the moment that really affected me was that I didn't get into any of those schools except for Fullerton.
Yeah.
I was at a very bad place in my life in terms of mentally. I had literally, and I just kid you not, probably no self-confidence at all. And how objectively, how could I? I was almost twice, in terms of academics, I was twice as dumb as all my peers, pretty much. And so I remember distinctly getting to the point where I literally didn't get into anything. And even Fullerton was like, which was the one I went to and accepted me, was like, I still don't know, man. Just write a 1,000-word essay and maybe you'll get in.
That's actually crazy. I hate when you say that shit. Sorry. I hate when you say that about yourself. I know you're telling a story, but I hate it when you say like, I'm twice as dumb, because I don't think you're dumb, but I know you're just telling a story and that's what you thought at the time, but I fucking hate hearing that shit because you're not. But like,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah,
but
sorry. I got like super fucking like, don't say that. Don't say that.
No, but that's something that was the real moment in my life, and the part that like really affected me was that I like at that moment I walked into my mom's room and I will never forget this. I literally walked in. She's sitting there working on her bed, and she works from home. She's a back-end developer, and then so she's working. And I grab her and I hold her and I say, just constantly over and over again, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And yeah, no, I'm feeling it though. But like, I literally like just constantly just say, I'm sorry. And I'm bawling. Like I never cry. Like I don't cry. Like I physically find it hard for me to, I can tear up, but I can't cry. No, I was bawling. I was wailing, just constantly saying, I'm sorry for being a failure. I'm sorry for being so dumb. I'm sorry that you have to waste money on me. And I'm sorry you have to raise a kid like me.
Oh, damn.
Because I put such an emphasis on academia that I didn't like it. Just like, there's like just a constant stress in that environment where I grew up, where like, you know, that affects you. And so I just kind of just grabbed her and I just constantly went like, and I bless my mom for being kind about it. And like I kind of I don't know I don't know how I thought she would react to that. But she had a moment where I thought she would not necessarily reject me, but I thought at least it would be a surprise. But I guess she kind of not necessarily expected from me, but she kind of saw how much it was affecting me. And I just like I broke down. Like that was like one of the few times in my life where I actually just broke down crying and just constantly just scream, like just kept whimpering and saying, I'm sorry, I'm so stupid, I'm sorry, I'm a failure, I'm sorry this. When in all actuality, I wasn't. I mean, I was very unconfident, but that's like not to completely blame it on the environment, but that was a product of where I was and how that affected, right? And you know, it was a very jarring thing because, you know, people always say don't compare yourself to others, right? But it's tough, man. Like even now, it's so tough not to compare yourself to others. It's just like a mental game. And if you are able to truly do that, you know, that's an amazing thing. But that was just the reality of my life. And, you know, I never will forget that because I look back on it and I just think about it. I'm like, I can't let myself get to that point anymore. I can never truly allow myself to come to the point where that is a reality anymore. Because if there's one thing I've learned from that moment is that you are what you say what you are. And like as cheesy as that is, like it's true. And me grabbing my mom and crying as a child, as a kid, you know, it's acceptable because I was a kid. But like there's moments in my life still now where there's a tinge of like that self-doubt and self-failure where like that just a single moment like comes in and I immediately try to crush it.
Yeah.
Because I just can't, with a lot of things currently riding on this, on us right now, but like a lot of things riding on me being able to keep on going. But at the same time, I just know if that comes back, if I'm at that moment in my life again, I will really be a failure. There's no shadow of a doubt. And so till this day, because of all of that, like it affects me greatly when someone brings up intelligence with me, like you're dumb, you're stupid. Like that's the thing that gets me now still, because like I'm confident enough to know that I'm smart, but there's a part of me that still like has that moment of like crushingness where it's like, you know, where like, like Jordan's, that was a fucking dumb thing to say. Like, I don't really care. But if it's like directly towards my actual intelligence as a person, that's where it gets me like kind of pissed off, because that still like affects me to this day, where it's like it's almost a mental thing. And like looking back on it all, like I fucking think all the teachers and all this, not all the teachers in my school were bad, but certainly there was a lot of them where it really did not help. I feel like the place where I was, because of how highly, how many eyes were on there, right, as a school. The teachers were either very kind and very nice about it and very good, or there was those that were just fucking no holds barred, just direct. Dude, like straight insults to your face in class, in front of everyone. Straight up humiliating insults to your face.
Yeah.
My ex got called literally in front of everyone in the whole entire band when we were in marching band. Got asked if the gears in her head were working by an educational professional.
No way.
Yeah, and that was a common thing with all the teachers there. A lot, not all. There was like about like maybe 50 to 60% of them. There was like a not support, and I jokingly said this, but it kind of tore me up when I had a counselor who saw that the only way I can get this totally like if my self-esteem was dead by the time I was crying my mother's lap, this just fucking tumbled in.
They're just like beating you up while you're...
Bro, I will never forget this. I still remember this counselor's name. I'm not going to say it out loud, but I was in her...
Say it. I'm just kidding.
I was in her... Yeah, no, I'm not going to say it. I'm a better person than that. But I was in her class. I was in her office talking about college stuff as counselors are supposed to help you to. She looked at my grades and looked at what was I accepted in and literally told me to my face, essentially the equivalent of you're never going anywhere in life.
Oh, damn.
Like,
that's crazy.
Straight to my face. You're never going anywhere in life. You're not getting into anything. You're not getting into anywhere. You're not going to, it's like, she just kept telling me this as a counselor.
Oh, damn. Are you serious?
Yeah.
And she just wouldn't shut up about it. Like, she just kept going
she said, like,
saying in different
she
ways.
was like, honestly, you're not going to do anything. You're not going to get anywhere. And she gave me my papers back and said, leave.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So,
yo, that is traumatic as fuck, actually.
Yeah. So,
holy shit.
I come out of that, bless my friends in high school for being kind enough to realize that I was struggling and they helped me out emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they all had struggles that was very similar. I knew people who had a 4.0 GPA that were still told they're not good enough.
That's wild.
Isn't that insane?
That is crazy.
That's a reality that I hope is not the case anymore, but I know it
probably is.
Yeah.
I mean, like, not to be negative, but I mean, like, if in fact it's probably gotten worse because, like, I've seen some of the, like, colleges I used to apply to because I had my younger brother was applying to colleges and basically all the GPAs were, like, jacked up and shit. So I imagine it's worse now than it was when we were in high school. And
I think the thing I've taken away from going to college was probably one of the best moves of my life. And because talking to just every individual, and I'm, as much as we make fun of our professors, every single one of them was at least better than the average teacher I've had.
Yeah.
In that high school. And I mean, I've had, like I said, it was like a 60. I will always thank my teachers in high school that were great to me, especially my culinary one that always really pushed me, and I always could combine in her. She was, bless her soul, I feel like I should go see her one day. But
yeah, I was about to say, have you reconnected with her at all?
I haven't, but I really should. She was like my first chef, and she really taught me a lot. And but that experience, like, it brought out one thing to me is that, academics isn't everything. It barely is anything a lot of times after school. And I feel like in high school or in that moment when you're thinking about it, a lot of people can't, like, think outside of that. And they're trapped in this bubble. And it's unfortunate where I know I'm lucky enough. I know people that try to take their lives. Not just, and I'm not talking like a couple. I'm talking about a few. I'm talking about a good amount of people I knew. And it's because you're trapped in this stress bubble. And a lot of them weren't able to get out. And a lot of them still has lasting effects on them. Where it truly shut them off mentally.
Damn.
And so, like, and when we all went to college, we all were talking about it, and we're like, fucking thank God. Like, it was so much less stressful. It was so much more freeing, not even just like the whole partying aspect. It was just like I could just breathe because there's not necessarily nothing after that if you wanted to go to grad school, but like nothing was as crazy as just having it pinned down looking at you like that.
Yeah, it sounded like there were a lot of like sounded like there were a lot of expectations thrown onto you that weren't even like, well, first of all, like valid or like shouldn't have been there in the first place. But I mean, it just sounded like, because like it's liberating to not have expectations except for your own placed on you once you got to college. But
yeah, so I will never forget that moment because I just physically can't let myself get back to that moment, But I also, like, I thank my family for like just working and dealing with me at those like tough moments, because it was I still think back as like, dude, those are like some of the probably worst years of my life.
For sure.
Not because of the people I hung out with, bless them, they were awesome, but like just the constant. I would wake up at 7 a.m., go to school. After school, I would either have band or I would have work, and after that I would go to SAT practice till 9 p.m. and then I would have to come back home, and I would have to figure out dinner at that point, and then I would go and work on homework from 10 p.m. till 3 or 4 in the morning, and then wake up again at 7.
Damn.
And then on weekends there was band stuff, there was extracurriculars, there was jobs, there was everything. And just, I was like, I can debatably say I was more busy then than I am now.
I believe it. Dude, that's wild.
Yeah.
Well, sorry. I mean, thanks for sharing that.
No, I mean, that was just like, you know, that's like I said, it was like, it's about the memories that like, you know, I'm glad that I'm out of it. And I'm glad that I'm a lot more confident as a person. I have to thank you and a lot of our friends for that. Honestly, like our buddy Chip, who was here for the pot earlier in the year for the podcast, Christmas episode, he kind of like, he toughened me up, but in a way where it was like, you know, we're in the way where it's also built me up too. And I have a lot to thank for him, and a lot to thank for the people that we met in college and a lot of our friends, and just like growing up. It was just like, it was a relieving experience just to not have the fear of like, just it's grades or you're literally on the street. That was kind of like the actual like feeling of it, you know. But yeah, no, dude, that's like an experience that I will just never forget. Like, that was just like that moment of like being and crying. That was probably the last time I really, really cried.
Oh, dang. Really?
Yeah, like really like tore up cried. Actually, wait, no, that was second to last time. The other time was when I broke it off with my ex of like a year and a half or 2 years.
Yeah, that would also do it. I'm pretty
sure.
Yeah.
but I think actually that one was still worse too. Like,
damn. Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, thanks again for sharing that.
No, man, that's just, I mean, as a topic for the day, I'm open to sharing that stuff because I feel like, honestly, if anyone is listening to this, whoever, I know it's not really like our audience for the people in high school, but like if you're listening to this and you're like, and this is something you're going through, like, just know, you know, try your best, try to get a good grade, right? But don't beat yourself up if you're not the best at grades. There's things that you will realize that you're better at than anybody else when you come out of the school. And there's so many skills that are so much more applicable than just grades.
Yeah.
Probably actually more applicable than grades now.
Yeah, I mean, if there's any early college or high school listeners too, I mean, not that I ever seek this. It's just I've seen it just by chance because I just happened to see it. It's not like I'm ever looking. But I mean, like, when I was in like high school, like you, like I, like what everybody has been, like I had like a 3.4 GPA, and I've known people who were like in the like 4.5 going to Ivy Leagues and Harvards and shit. And they're literally working the same exact job that you and I are working now. So it's like in terms of like our job after like our 9 to 5s. So I'm just saying like it doesn't really like affect your career path unless you allow it to affect that or your path in life in general.
I mean, good schools are good schools, man. Like that's fine, but like it doesn't mean that, like you said, it's gonna fully affect everything else from there on.
Yeah, it's not everything.
It's not everything. School isn't everything.
It is important though, so still go to school.
Yes, go to school, try your best, but if academically you're not like the best, you're not getting A+ for everything, it's fine, man. Or fine, girl. Just chill about it, and just work on the skills that you know you like, you love, and you're good at.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna get into Riley's moment or memory that he won't forget, and after this break. All right, we're back from the break, and I'm done talking about my soap opera of a high school story.
Dude, after you told that like epic story, I'm like, fuck, man. How am I supposed to even like get into it? I don't even know anymore.
I mean, like, honestly, I'm kind of glad because I knew it was gonna be a sad-ish thing that happened to my life, and you know, I'm kind of glad it was in the middle so we're gonna end on a little bit less of a dragging note. I mean, the nice part about that is like just learn from that experience, and just I'm a lot more confident and happy as a person now.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, like these things affect, I mean, like similar to like your story in a way, like it affected me in a positive way, but also a negative. Like there's two sides of the coin. And you know, these things like shape like who we are, not only as people, our values, but also like the direction we go into like what we do or how we perceive things in the world. But
yeah,
I guess that's a good segue. 'Cause like, then in a way, like mine doesn't have as much to do with like education. I feel like that's like a part of it because it definitely did like build on everything else that I had going on, but
Yeah.
it actually took place when I was living with Chip, the Chris's podcast member, and then another one of our mutual friends named Mark. We were like living together, all three of us at the time. And it was in a like 1-bedroom apartment, and these three of us were just living out.
Bro.
2 of us were living at the living room, so we shared a living room. Me and Mark did, and then Chip got his own room.
Honestly, it was like the three of us. I would stay there like every other weekend.
I mean, and then people were literally constantly in and out. And then
Yeah.
I had a girlfriend. Mark had a girlfriend at the time, so.
Yeah.
But I mean, like that's like a good segue because like, so like my part in my life where when I was gonna talk about like the bad but also good thing was in that time of my life where
Yeah.
I was living in that 1-bedroom apartment, but I was like basically living out of a living room with like one of our mutual friends. And at the time, like, I was going to Cal State Fullerton. I was like a junior or a senior at the college. I think I was like a junior, so I wasn't quite done yet. And during that time, like I had my girlfriend, and it was a pretty toxic relationship at the time for me.
Yeah.
I talked about her before on a previous episode, so you can go check that out
I
if
think it
you
was
want.
Valentine's one.
The Valentine's Day one, yeah. But so I was like, so I had basically, just to set the setting, it was basically like I just had all this stuff that was going on at the time. And none of it was necessarily bad, but it like I was never really like satisfied or happy with it all because like it just felt like it was one of the busiest times like ever. Like how you had said like how you felt like back then it was probably busier than you are right now. That's how I felt during that time because at the time like not only did I have that toxic relationship I was in, I wasn't satisfied with my living situation. I didn't have a car. I had a job. I also went to school full time. I also still did design. Like I was still like an independent contractor doing like designs for like companies and small businesses. And I was hitting the gym every day too, like 6 days a week. I was going at 11 p.m. at night actually, because like I was so busy. Like I literally didn't have time. I woke up at 8 a.m. every day and just went until 11 p.m. And the gym was literally the only time I got like an hour where like I could just check out and like go lift, which is why lifting is so important to me now, is because like it's one of the only times still where I feel like it's like my time.
It's like a meditation almost.
It's my 1 hour to like just get away from like anything. And granted, like I don't want to escape anything in this very moment. I like everything that we do, I do. But at the time, like I definitely didn't when I was in college.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, so getting back to it, I remember this like one day I woke up at 8, I went to class. It was during midterms week. At the time, I had like a family member who became like severely ill and was basically gonna die. And I'd found out that same day while I was at classes. And on top of that, because of my toxic relationship with my girlfriend, and part of it was because I couldn't just put my foot down and say no, because I used to be like kind of a pushover. I actually was like dead flat, like broke too. But I was like trying to wait for some money coming in from like an independent job I did for a small business. And I was basically praying that morning. I was like, please, like, let like the money come in. It was like only $500, but I needed it to pay rent that day because it was the end of the month. So like it was midterms, end of the month. I come home, check my bank account, and I remember looking at it, and it was like, it said like negative $120 or something like that. But I remember just being super devastated by that because like at the time I thought I was supposed to be getting this money, and I was, but I ended up getting scammed. I actually never got the money for it. I did this job completely free for like this small business who ended up just literally ghosting me and never paying me. And it was supposed to be under the table, and I couldn't report it because they were supposed to give me all cash. There was like no documentation, but I literally like looked at my bank account after getting bitched out by my girlfriend, failing all of my midterms, coming home to a shitty ass apartment, and then having to know that I have to go back to work and hit the gym at the same time. And I still had projects on the back burner. I remember looking at the negative like $120 in my bank account. And I just remember like thinking, like, cause I'm like, for those that don't know me, like I can be super prideful. So I hate asking for help for anything. Like, I just hate being like you would never, even right now, you could never like catch me calling anybody asking for money. You can never call me asking anyone for like support at my job. Even like right now, I just do everything that I think is best. I never ask for help. And that's like one of the things I've gotten better at over the years. But back then I was really, really bad at it. Like, I would never ask anyone for help. And that was one of the only times where like I felt like my pride like literally fucked me over, because I literally was sitting at my computer. I looked at the number and I like called my mom right away because I was panicking. And I was like, dude, like, I didn't say this on the phone, but I was thinking like, dude, I have negative money in my bank account. I probably just got scammed, and I literally don't know what to do right now, because there's no way I would ask anybody for help. So I call my mom, the one person I would always call if anything like terrible happened. And I remember I like was telling her, I was like, I like need, like, I didn't say like I need help. I said like, I have like this problem. I need to like talk about it with you. It was like some normal conversation. She was just like, yeah, like, what's wrong? She was like concerned. And I remember like I just started like crying to her like over the phone, because I was like, I just like failed all my midterms. I probably have to retake 2 classes, and I like am negative $120 in my bank account, and I'm expected to take like her tonight and like pay for her dinner, and I don't have a car, so I can't even drive her. I can't even like get an Uber to take her out, and it's like our 8-month anniversary or some shit like that at the time. And so I'm like, I'm gonna disappoint her. And then I felt like I was disappointing my mom, because I was like, I'm failing all my classes. I'm broke. Like, I can't afford anything. And like, I told this all to her, and I literally had to like ask her to like give me money, which was like, I don't like the idea of that at all. Like, I don't like to be like, hey, can I borrow money? Like, that's just something I've never liked. It was the only time in my life I ever asked my parents for money. Like, I've like, obviously when I'm like 17, 16, 15, living in their house, yeah, like, I don't have a job. Like, of course they'd pay for my groceries, or like they make me dinner. But at the time, I was so prideful on being like this young adult who could take care of himself. I literally just refused to ask for anything. So it was like the only time in my life I've ever asked my parents for like money. And I just remember that feeling of like having negative. I sound like Ty Lopez from like the Ferraris in my garage. Like, I had negative $20 in my bank account, but I was literally in that situation. I was like,
Yeah,
dude, I had negative $100 something. And so my mom was a G at the time, and she like, I don't want to say like she couldn't afford it, but like my family literally couldn't afford it. Like, they couldn't give me money, but they somehow did it. They sent me the money. And I remember like thinking from that day on, after I was done crying with her, she was like, just finish your midterms and then tell the girl you can't go out tonight, even if it's your guys' anniversary. Tell her like you can't go because you're just like not like doing well, or you're sick or something, and then just like sleep it off. So I did, and I felt better, but she gave me the money, and I remember thinking like, dude, this is the only time like ever in my life I ever want to ask for money, like, ever again. Like, I do not want to ever have this feeling of not having like cash. Like, I don't want to ever have that feeling of not being able to afford something, or never being able to have that feeling of like not being able to have like a blanket of money just in case something bad happens, you know? But it still like fucks me up to this day. Like, for example, like our jobs, we work for a company outside of what we do here, and we have like the worst like HR department of all time. Like, they will not give us money sometimes because they fuck up on their end. And I literally, and I don't mean to do this, but I sometimes, like, when money doesn't come through, like tonight, we're supposed to get paid. If I don't get paid, I don't do this on purpose, but I literally call like my boss, and I don't mean to be an asshole to him, but I'm just kind of, I like blow up on him, and I tell him like, these motherfuckers need to fucking pay me money right now because I work my ass off, and like it's so disrespectful. Like I get super like heated and I blow the fuck up on him. It's totally not his fault, and I apologize to him every time, but every time like I feel like I should be getting money and it doesn't show up, I like still to this day will like have a panic attack, and I'll get mad and I'll like freak out, and it's still like something I like deal with, but I hated that feeling, and ever since then I was like, dude, I have to like do something different. Like I have to like, if picking up a second job is what it takes, then I'll do it. If like dropping out of college is what it takes, I'll do it. I just never want to have this moment where like, even if my education is there, like I never want that to get in the way of me never having money. Because like there's one thing of like going through college and being like a broke college student, I'm buying ramen, but like at the time I literally couldn't afford to buy groceries. Like I had to like buy like the cheapest fucking things I could get and like eat it, because like I just couldn't afford it, and I was way too prideful to ask anyone for help. Like I didn't want to be like, hey, could you spot me $50 for groceries or anything? Like it's just not how I thought it. I just didn't think it was the right thing to do, so I never like did it. But yeah, I have this fucked up thing where I still freak out if I think there's money should be coming through the door. I still have like a panic attack and like I get scared and shit. But I think like the good of it though is like it definitely motivated me to be like, hey, I need to be doing something outside of just like our jobs. Like we need to be doing something more. And it kind of like helped push that whole like entrepreneurship thing of like, we need to start like a business. We need to like figure out more ways to make money. But I definitely do think about that sometimes when I'm like seeing money go out of my bank account because we pay for things for the business, or like because I spend like my money on a luxury good like shoes or something. Like I feel like terrible. Like I feel like I shouldn't be buying nice things for myself, because like if I do that, then I'm literally like fucking myself over because I'm giving someone else my money. Like I don't ever feel like I can fully enjoy like the luxuries of buying like nice shoes or a new car or like going on vacation. Like I don't ever feel like I can, like I owe it to myself, because it's like I can't, in my mind I can never afford it, even though sometimes I know I can. So yeah.
No, I mean, that actually, like, knowing you now, like, knowing you for this long, that actually explains a lot, actually. And I vaguely remember you mentioning something like this, like, to me a couple of years ago, a few years ago. But it wasn't like this, obviously it wasn't this detailed, but that's crazy, man. I mean, that's an experience to live through, and, like, the fact that you got through it and, like, you are where you are now, you're doing good, man. Like, you're doing good for yourself. Like, looking back on it, you know, I don't want to say, quote, we're successful. That's a term that I feel like is so vague. And it's this weird thing where, you know, I feel like you would agree with me where there's never really a moment, right? At least right now. And I feel like for a while that you're gonna there's a keep chasing what success is, right? And that moment where something doesn't feel fulfilled yet, where like you can see thousands and thousands of dollars in your bank account and still not feel it. And I totally get that. But like to live through that, and I mean to be where you are, dude, we're in a good apartment in San Diego, and we have a fucking neon sign. We have a neon sign.
Dude, this whole setup is great.
We have a neon sign. We're living good. You get to go on, you know. I'm glad to see that you're able to at least enjoy yourself a little bit more, you know.
Yeah.
Go, you know, we're not necessarily spend as much as probably I do, which is something maybe I need to work on at times, but you know, you still get to enjoy yourself. We not often, but like we do enjoy going out to go get some food. You go out with your current girlfriend, and you get nice things like the Yeezys that you're about to throw at Kanye during Coachella that never happened.
Yeah.
Honestly, thank God he wasn't there.
To be fair, I didn't even buy those. Like I probably would have like psyched myself out and been like, fuck, I don't deserve to own these, and I wouldn't have bought them probably.
Yeah.
Like the shoes that I have that are nice, I literally haven't bought a single pair.
Do you feel a little bit more deserving of the nice things you have now?
I do. However, like I still, whenever I buy, even restaurants sometimes, but like with gas even, or like clothes, like I always go cheap no matter what. Like I'll never, like even with clothes, like I'll go to H&M before I go to like American Eagle and buy clothes. Like I will, like I do give myself the right sometimes, but I still will always, even though I know it's like buy nice or buy twice, I'll still always buy cheap every single time, because not because like I'm stingy, but because I literally am just like, dude, I don't deserve to afford nice things because I need to like save money. I can't be spending it, kind of thing. And so, yeah, I mean, like I do for sure. I mean, like even with like business stuff, I can justify it in my head at least a little bit of like, well, this will pay itself off, you know?
Yeah.
But like it still is like up the alley of like we get to buy like cameras and like lights and stuff. So
yeah, I'm
that's
not sure.
cool.
I'm not sure if this will like help you, and maybe not to say it has to help you. You're doing pretty good like now, anyways. But like something I heard from actually, I did I guess this is a slight flex, but I did an interview once with Joe Jitsikawa from JK News.
Oh, sick.
Once, and I asked him if you had any advice for any college student or anyone going into the business world, what would it be? And he said, learn how to manage your finances, because he told me that he was, once he got money, because he used to be poor, you know, he used to be completely broke, and he said to me that like, so when I was first making money from YouTube, I was just blowing it and having fun. I would buy whatever was on my mind. And not to say that I didn't have money, because I would just keep spending it, but it just kind of stopped having this like feeling. And so he was like, I could reinvest in something else. And so he said, if whenever you want something, and I guess it would be the opposite for you than him, wait 3 days. If you still want it by the third day and you know you have the money for it, no matter what, buy it. You will feel better for having it at that moment, after that moment. Even if it's you, for him, it's it was that now you can justify it because you want it for 3 days. And I think maybe on the opposite end, maybe it's that you can now feel like you could deserve it because you now know that you can afford it for thinking about it for 3 days.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I don't know, man. It's gonna take. I hear what you're saying, and I agree.
Yeah.
Like totally. But even thinking about it, I'm like, fuck, man. Like, really shouldn't be buying. Like that's how I just say it in my mind. Like,
yeah.
Like if I want to go to Disneyland, I go, I really shouldn't be buying like a ticket.
No, I've heard you say that actually.
Yeah, I say it like because I think about it like that. I'm like, I really shouldn't be doing this, even though like. It's totally valid, and I deserve to have fun too. I just, fuck. Every time I think about it, like, it's like stressful. I'm like, dude, I really shouldn't be buying this. And then the more I think about money, the more stressful I get. Like, money just stresses me out because I grew up in a family, like, and no offense, if any of my family members are listening, this isn't a diss or a burn or anything, but I grew up conditioned to spend. I was not grown up conditioned to save. So, like, my brain has been conditioned to just get money, like you were saying, and just spend it. Like that's how my brain's conditioned, and it's so tough in my mind to recondition my mind sometimes to be like take the money and like save it. And like part of that way I try is by saying like I shouldn't be buying this, but then like it's like it's so hard for me to find a balance sometimes of like I should or I shouldn't. And it's never like that. It's just like that's how I try and justify like saving instead of doing that conditioned mentality of just like buy things that I want. So
yeah, it's like one crazy or the other crazy.
Yeah. Like in my family, like, and this is something I've actually talked about with my current girlfriend too, is like when we have kids and we raise a family, something like super important is like I want to like have open conversations with my kids about like finances and like saving money and investing and stuff and what credit cards are. Like I didn't know what a credit card was, how it worked or what it did until I was like 20. Like it literally took
Oh,
me
yeah.
that long to figure it out
Yeah.
because we never had those conversations, and it was like almost like a secret, like that you had to like not talk about in like my house growing up. It was like you could never talk about money. It was like
Yeah.
it was private, and so
Yeah.
and like it's private to everyone listening, but like in a family setting, like I really would have liked if somebody would have like shown me the way of like at least a little bit of like, here's what a credit card does. Here's $20. Go buy that thing. Like if I'm like 8 and I have my parents have me go buy something, and then have them like teach me about like, well, now you lose $20 and stuff. So that's like something in the future I would like to do to better like my family's next generation of like understanding what money does, how it works, like understanding like you don't like make money, like you give your you get a job and your labor goes to a company. In return they give you the money they have. You don't like make it. You like get the money they have, like understanding it that way instead of it being like I'm making money. Like it doesn't just come out of thin air. Like you do something and somebody gives you their money. Like I don't know if I'm rambling or not, but yeah, I've talked about that openly with like people I'm close with and stuff. So.
I get that. Yeah, man. I mean, that's definitely an experience, bro. That's such a crazy experience to go through, and you know, glad you're better for it too. You know, there's obviously some things in both of us that going through what we went through, we have to like fucking think about, obviously. And I mean, there's obviously still going to be kind of, I guess, in a way, ghosts from our past in a way. But, you know, I think that's everyone. Everyone needs to work through shit, because if everything was always happy-go-lucky, then it wouldn't. Then there would be, everything would be neutral. So, you know, glad you got that. Glad you were open to talk about it, because it sounds like it was like a kind of a, I guess, traumatic moment, but like it was definitely a big moment in your life.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, like with money, it's like I'm getting a lot better with it. Like I have investments now, and like I know what credit cards do. I have like a really good credit score. Not saying that to brag. I'm just saying like I've developed that like over time, and it's a weird thing to brag about a credit score anyways.
Yo, those people
so like
don't
even worry about it, but I'm just saying like I'm in a better place than I was, but like
those people who post your credit score and be like, look at my credit score, dude, just fuck off, bro.
Dude, seriously.
Anyways, hey man, we're running on the time. I'm glad you're open to share to my crazy idea of sharing our
likewise,
like things.
I appreciated hearing from your side too, like straight up.
Well, I mean, we'd finished our drink, but cheers, or fist.
Cheers.
On growing, dude.
Yes, sir.
On growing and continuously growing and keep on growing. And dude, I say growing, and I'll show this later, but like we have a poster of a Zooey's rats.
Oh yeah, the gym rats.
And whenever I say growing, I look at over and I'm like, growing.
You're like, that's where I want to be.
That's where I want to be. The gym rats. Anyways, hey, thank you for listening to Gain EXP podcast. Appreciate you listening to our stories. If you feel open to it, you know, feel free to share it with us. We're never going to make fun of anything, only slightly maybe. I'll
read the comments, don't worry. I'll definitely read them.
If you feel open to it, you're always free to share. This is a safe space, and we'll beat up anyone that says otherwise. But this is a follow us at Gain EXP
Let's do our
Fitness.
Plugs.
Follow us at gainexpfitness.com if you want to check out any of our programs, all of our character programs, as well as our TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, all of that. We're so much more active on nowadays. Obviously, we would be happy if you liked and subscribed, and we would really appreciate that. On my end, I'm Giorgio EXP for most things, Instagram, and then for all my cooking stuff, it's Giorgio Cooks. So YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, Discord, and you.
Yeah, so you can find me on doggo_EXP on all platforms. Specifically, I'm going fucking ham on YouTube because I learned you motherfuckers that like Pokemon card videos aren't on Instagram or don't look at those videos there. So go, if you're on YouTube, go check out my content. I'm on and off on Twitch right now. It's hard to be have an active, consistent schedule considering how much video editing we have to do, but I'll do it at least once a week. That's my goal right now. Baby steps, once a week.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it on Mondays because it's a chill day. So yeah, Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok are gonna be my main ones. Don't worry about Instagram. If you want, you can go check it out. But most importantly, as Jordan said, go to gainexpfitness.com to check out some of our anime, gaming, and superhero inspired fitness programs based on your favorite anime, gaming, and superhero character for only $20 a month.
Yep, only $20 a month, and if you want, you can also add on a trainer. So anyways, that's enough from us. Appreciate your time. Deuces.